Alright, I think we're back in business. So, if you saw the last video, you saw I kind of updated you guys on the whole, I'm now on a supermoto thing. This thing is freaking sweet. 2009 WR250X. Maybe I'll talk to you guys about why I decided to go with the WR250X over some of the other options that I had available to me. So, that may be a good talking point. Otherwise, I'll just ramble on about stuff that no one really cares about. Okay, so, why did I choose the WR250X over any other bike? So, it really came to, I was going to buy a supermoto. I wasn't going to buy a road bike. I could have bought an FZ, because that was kind of in my price range, but I didn't want to let go of the dirt completely. I still wanted to have that option of going out in the trails and just putting around in the woods. So that's really why I wanted a supermoto, and I've just always wanted a supermoto. That was kind of just always my dream. So I knew from the start I wanted a supermoto, and then after I made that decision, it kind of came down to which one. So obviously my dream supermoto is a WR250, but those are really hard to title to get street legal here. Also, they were just way too expensive, and I would have to, most of the ones that I wanted, I'd have to convert myself to road and put, new wheels on supermoto setup for it, and I just didn't want to do that. I wanted something I could just get, go pick up and then go ride immediately. So that kind of led to a couple of options. We're narrowing down my options. The Yamaha WR250X, the DRZ 400, and then also the CRF 250L. I was actually going to buy a 250L. That was probably my first choice. Mainly because I rated my criteria on what kind of bike I wanted based on price, weight, looks, what else? Like aftermarket availability, if it had supermoto wheels, and then finally power. The main two criteria I always evaluate bikes on are looks and if it runs good. As long as it looks good and runs good, I'm pretty okay with whatever I have. Let's see, where am I going? Let me figure out where I'm going first. I've got my like GPS hooked up to my headphones that I have in my helmet, and it like wasn't saying anything for a while, so I thought I missed a turn, but no, I'm still going straight. So where was I? Right, the 250L. So I was really looking at the 250L mainly because of the price. So in my area, they were like dirt cheap. Like, we're talking like $3,000, and I was planning on selling my YZ for around like $3,500, and I didn't really want to spend a whole lot more than what I sold it for. In an ideal world, I sold it for $3,500, and then I bought a supermoto for $3,500 and just came out even. So that's why I was really leaning towards the 250L. But the main issue with the 250L, there were a couple issues, which is why I didn't go with them. Here, I'll start filling you guys in once we start moving, because me just talking at a red light is probably pretty boring. Alright, good. It's rolling. If that camera was not on, like, I've literally been talking for probably 15 minutes. If I was just talking to myself, that would have been pretty embarrassing. It also takes a lot of effort to talk and ride at the same time. It's kind of like, I guess that's why people like lip sing, singing and dancing, talking and riding. Very difficult skills. There we go. Alright. So the main issues I found with the 250L was weight. It was equally as heavy. It's like 320 pounds. And that's what the DRZ weighed. So they weighed the exact same. but the 250L was had the like lowest horsepower in that three group in between the WR, the CRF, and the DRZ. It was one of the heaviest with the least amount of power. So that was like a major, I guess, like, nah, I'm not gonna go that route. Only would have gone if it was like very cheap, very like affordable, and also had supermoto wheels on it. Because that was the other issue with it, is a lot of them, you know, they come stock from the factory with dirt wheels on it, and I was like, okay, maybe I can just get dirt wheels and like put on some like 50/50 tires, but I really like the look of a supermoto wheel. So it was like the combination of, well, I may not get a bike that has supermoto wheels, I'm gonna get the one with the least amount of power in the group with the most weight. Like, that really doesn't make sense. So that's kind of why I knocked the what do you call it, the 250L. That's why I knocked the 250L, and then I was down to the WRX and the DRZ. So, what made me decide to take less horsepower, you know, almost half the displacement, and go for the Yamaha? Well, as I mentioned, my top two priorities were weight and price. In my area, WRs were significantly cheaper than DRZs. The only DRZs that were comparable to a WRX price was like a 2005, over 10,000 miles on it. That was the other thing. I really wanted a bike. Where am I going? That was the other thing. I wanted a bike with pretty low miles on it. And that's not, you know, that doesn't matter brand to brand. That's just on the used market. So yeah, any DRZ I found that was compatible with the deal I got for this was around like, oh, I'm turning left. I'm turning left. See, I get distracted. So yeah, any DRZ that was in like the price, in my price range, was like older with over 10,000 miles. So I was like, I really don't want that. And so that, and the other thing was the weight. It's like 320-pound bike, and I really wanted to be doing some off-roading, and I was afraid that with that weight, it would be a little difficult to, you know, maneuver in the trails and whatnot. I also, just from like reading reviews and stuff, a lot of people were saying that the WR felt a lot more light, it felt a lot more nimble, and power wasn't really my main concern. I really wanted something fun to ride that was light, that I could, you know, have a lot of confidence in, you know, throwing it through, you know, windy roads and stuff, and just, you know, inspired a lot of confidence that I wasn't hindered by the weight of it. So that's kind of why I started leaning more towards the WRX. And the other thing why I went the WRX over the DRZ is looks. I just really enjoyed the looks of the WR. It felt a lot more modern to me. It looked to me a lot more like a dirt bike, which was something I really liked. At first, I didn't really like the look of the WR, surprisingly, but I still didn't like the look of the DRZ. But then after a while, oh yeah, I'm gonna go. After a while, the WR just started to grow on me. I just started to get the image of, you know, a WRX. Like, that's what I wanted, and that's ultimately why I kind of chose to go with this. And when I found this bike that was, you know, all black, it's got LED headlight, and I just love the look of it. And another thing I was super pumped about with the WR was fuel injection. So a lot of the components on the WR are a lot more modern technology than the DRZ. The DRZ is still carbureted. You know, it doesn't have an oil window. It still uses a dipstick, which is kind of odd. The speedo on this just looks a lot more modern. The look, it was just, I wanted that modern technology, and I never had a fuel injected bike. So I really wanted to just experiment with it and try it out, see what it was all about. Like, I have nothing against carburetors. A lot of people say, oh, you gotta work on them, you gotta jet them, blah, blah, blah. I really have not messed with any, like, my YZ250F was carbureted, my XR100's carbureted. Never messed with the carburetor on any of them. They ran great. So it wasn't more so I was like, oh, carburetors. No, I hate carburetors. Not at all. I just wanted to try something different, and I'm glad I did. Like, the throttle response on this is instant, right? It's like, I now get the hype of fuel injection, because I never understood why people cared so much about fuel injection. So I wanted to try it out, and I'm happy with my decision. I got an awesome deal on this. It definitely is. I definitely do want more power here and there. And that's not even my biggest issue with the bike. My biggest issue with the bike is the exhaust. It is like so quiet, and that would have been easily solvable if I bought a bike with an exhaust already on it. But I'm probably just gonna put like an FMF on it pretty soon. $250, call it a day. So that kind of gives the rundown of why I chose this bike over maybe some of the other options, and hopefully that kind of gives you guys a little synopsis, or if you're considering one or the other. Like I said, this is just all my opinion and why I ended up choosing this bike. I definitely do sometimes want more power, but there's always modification stuff you can do that I probably won't do just because like it's not, I don't plan on this being like a long-term bike. Probably once I graduate college or whatever, I'll probably get something else. I really want to get back into dirt riding again, but this is just kind of for the time being, because in my last video I kind of discussed why it made sense for me to switch over to the road, and this is all that I need. Runs good, looks good, I'm happy.